All right, it's 9 o'clock. Going to call this meeting to order. If everyone could mute their cell phones for the meeting. Becky, will you do roll call, please?
I sure will. Jack Scrogstead,
Here.
Allie Huss,
Here.
Dean Creel,
Here.
Katie White, Ron Gascoigne,
Here.
Reed Acree.
Here.
Okay, all right. You all look on your packet and Reagan Mass Transit, he always puts together something. He's not here today, but that's his little throw out there. We do have a couple here that are visiting. This would be the time, if you guys have anything, I appreciate you guys coming to visit, but is there anything you'd like to say or speak now or? If you want to go up to the microphone and just go ahead, make sure that's green light and speak it in the mic so that way we can hear you. And please, please state your name and. I couldn't hear
What do you
you.
want me to say? All right, last night there was the Palmyra Township. Oh, Nick Hermes. Last night, the Palmyra Township, we had our township meeting. The application of the solar farms were Sundial was there. They were voted down, or they were voted again. There were 6 no's, and there was 0 for in that solar farm there. And I don't know if you're familiar with what area I'm talking about. It's one of them is right next to the drive-in, the Midway Drive-In Theater.
Okay.
It's a piece of real estate there. They're going to put 13,000 solar panel farm. Was it 20,000? 20,000 panel solar farm on the north piece, and there's also going to be another piece on the south piece. Here, give me. There's a big issue with an application that this ground is in a 10-year farm program. It's called a 2032. It's a Schedule A that saved the estate $500,000 that needs to get fulfilled before any kind of something like that can be put that can be able to go to a commercial application. I know somehow that solar game is able to do this thing. This will be a solar application where where it's going to commercial, but somehow they're able to keep this into a Schedule A. It's very concerning for us homeowners. But my biggest thing is with the IRS. I'm part of this 706. So this needs to get fulfilled, and it has to go to 2027. Now they told us that last night, or this Sundial told us last night that they tried to say they were going to get it going by March or April of 2026. Now the agreement on the farm program is not, the 706 was not filed until April of 2017. So the IRS could step into that very easily and have an issue with that if that's not fulfilled. I was not the executor of my father's will at Hermes. My brother John Hermes and Jana Hermes were the. Now none of them live around here anymore. I am the only Hermes around here other than Jim Hermes in the farming. None of the Dixon farming Hermeses also don't farm either. We were the farmers in Sterling. As you go into Sterling and left, as you go in the grain bins, my father was Hugh Hermes, or my grandfather was Hugh Hermes. You may not know what I'm talking about. Okay, we farmed the ground all the way up from Sauk Road all the way up to the big farm, the farm there with all the pine trees there before you get to Walmart. Mike, I just want to get that on. I just want to get that on the table here. That I know this stuff has to get approved by the board. That's basically why I'm here.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. In our agenda today, I believe that that petition for that solar is coming up to be sent to the zoning board of appeals. Now, my understanding is the zoning board of appeals has a date. Do we have that date yet? Alice, yet? April 3rd. That is where all the people from that Palmyra Township, that area, they need to attend that particular meeting.
Another one then? Because we had went
Yeah,
to the
well,
last one.
you guys
The board meeting
had,
is tonight. We have one tonight also.
okay, well, we're
That's
talking
what they're-
about, what I'm talking about is the zoning board of appeals. That's where evidence is brought in by the solar people and then any oppositions to that. And that's the zoning board of appeals, what that is. And then they'll basically take that information and then they'll present that to the board to whether or not we should pass this resolution or not.
Well, all five of them were down in Palmyra last night talking about this. So this is
Those-
going to
those
be
are-
another
those
meeting
are-
then?
Those are the township meetings that you guys held.
Okay.
That's what you guys hold yourself. But this is for the application of it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you guys are in opposition. I'm sure your township will provide documentation.
Everybody in the subdivision also lives up in Bid Book subdivision also where everyone was against it also.
Sure. So then I'm gonna.
My thing is with the IRS. It's the thing with
Okay.
706.
Then what you'll need to do is you need to bring that information to the ZBA meeting on that April
And what
date.
day is that? April 3rd?
April 3rd at 7 PM.
Okay.
And that's
All right,
up
good
here.
enough. All right, do that. That's what we need to do then.
Yep. That's exactly what you guys need to do. That, it'll be like a hearing that you guys will have that opportunity to then voice your information and have bring all your ducks and put them in a row. But I Right. Right. And like I said before, you need to bring all that information to that meeting. Because all we're going to do today is pass this to that zoning board, that ZBA. So that's what we're going to do today, to let them make that. You don't need, I appreciate you coming, you're welcome to hang out and thank you. All right. All right. I see we don't have any other visitors, so let's go ahead and continue on. We have a meeting minutes from last month. If everyone's had a chance to take a look at that. If there's any corrections, those minutes will stand. And no corrections, okay. So then let's go to our transportation department. Dave Anderson, would you like to walk the committee through your report?
Sure, pretty simple. Been busy doing a number of different things to get projects ready. You'll have a list of bids to approve coming up here. And, on the maintenance side of things, we're just doing whatever we can as the weather allows this time of year. With roads being posted and such, we are also somewhat limited. A little drainage project we're going to do on an unposted road, actually Mound Hill Road this week. But other than that, things are pretty much status quo. One thing I would mention that's not on the report, kind of came up a little bit later in the week, is that in Jeremy, I believe a guy named Arnie Vector is going to be on the agenda for the board meeting, and I was just going to preface that with you guys. It has to do with, apparently there's several bills out there right now, and as I actually just found out this morning, some have to do with the assessor world. I don't believe these two that Arnie are speaking on have anything to do with the assessor world, but I'm going to check that out. I was just talking with Jennifer this morning. However, the bills that this Arnie Vector, he's a highway commissioner in Whiteside County, and he is also the legislative chair for TOI, Township Officials of Illinois. And apparently there are some reasons that the TOI is fairly concerned about these two bills. There's always been, ever since I've been doing this, there's been a push every year. There's been a bill every year that's come out to, in one way, shape, or form, attempt to dissolve township government. For whatever reason, TOI is fairly excited about these two this year. And so he's going to come talk to the board about it and what he believes the impacts might be. And it all depends on the bill and how it's worded. The two in question are worded really quite differently. And in one of them, it's basically the county would then assume all the township responsibilities, which would presumably mean all the township roads as well. So, you know, we add on another 900 plus miles of road onto our 220 mile existing roadway system. So that obviously does have an impact on the county and in particular the county highway department. So we're fairly well in tune with that, but just to let you know, those two bills are out there. The township folks are particularly concerned about it for whatever the reasons are this year. And you'll hear a little bit about that at the board. Other than that, we can go to board action items.
Sure, if you want to walk us through the salt purchase, we'll
Yeah, so
work on that one.
this came up last year for the first time, and evidently it's going to be an annual thing where we purchase our bulk rock salt through CMS state bid, joint purchasing program. But the state wants official action, well, in this case, official action from the county board that gives me the authority to sign the contracts for it. It's something I had done and every county engineer has done forever, but they just want it. They just want a vote from the board on that. So that's what that's about.
Okay,
It's you giving me the authority to sign those contracts.
okay. Well, let's go ahead and take care of that, that action here. So, I don't know if you guys all have that certificate of authority, but is there a motion to move the certificate of authority for the salt purchase to the executive committee for inclusion on the county board agenda? First by Dean Friel, seconded by Ron Gascoigne. Is there any discussion on that? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, if you want to go with the engineer
Yep.
salary.
Yep. So since we pay my salary out of county MFT, it needs its own appropriation resolution. That's essentially what that is. When it complies with the state program, then we also get half of that amount back out of our federal fund. So it's sort of a half state, half federal kind of thing. But it's an appropriation resolution.
Okay, everyone, you also see that, that resolution for the appropriation resolution. So is there a motion to move the county engineer salary appropriation resolution, the executive committee for inclusion on the county board agenda? First by Dean Friel, second by Ron Gascoigne. Any discussion on that? I'm hearing no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. Okay, and then your last one?
Yep. Then we've had a bid letting on Friday, and you've got the bulk results up there and in your packet, and all the detailed stuff's on our website. So need a motion for approval on all those, and then we'll be able to get contracts going on those.
Okay, all right. Everyone has a copy of that. It's also on the screen. But is there a motion to award the bids as presented to the committee, subject to the highway commissioner concurrence as applicable and an IDOT review? First by Dean Friel, seconded by Rita Akery. Any discussion on this? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, motion carried. Did you get the abstain? Thank you. Okay, all right.
There was
ahead.
one other bid that went out on Friday. It's not on this list because it was let in Springfield. They had federal funds, so IDOT lets that out. And that was the Perry Road Cold in Place Recycling and HMA overlay. So that was let out. Martin and Company got that bid. 698,000, if I remember right, somewhere in there.
Okay,
So,
all right. Anything else, Dave?
just wanted to report, April 1st, we'll be starting our electronics back up again. Good news is we reached out to Hughes Resources. Fully died on me. Anyway, we're getting the guy back that we had last year. It got real well, so happy about that.
All right, so April 1st, the start of the electronic recycling there in Amboy. So anyone out there in this committee and out in the Lee County area, if you have electronics that the garbage company will not take, David will take those, and you can check out on the website to look at all the different things that he's able to take. All right, thank you, Dave. All right, so let's move on to the assessment world. Jennifer, would you like to walk through the committee with your report?
Good morning. Sure, as Dave said, there is the initiative for the township consolidation out there. And Dave and I will talk a little bit more about that. When I saw that come through, that the speaker was coming to the county board, I thought that it was more about the county, the assessment initiative, but there may be other bills out there that Dave has mentioned, so we'll look into that. But the county assessors also have an interest in that consolidation. It may be separate bills that we're talking about, though. So that's kind of in addition to my report I had already submitted, and we'll follow up with that. I did submit an assessment office report, and Sammy's not here today, but he submitted his GIS report, so I'll touch a little bit on his also. But in the last month, Board of Review hearings were held in the middle of February, and we wrapped those up. Final Board of Review decisions were mailed out by standard mail Tuesday, March 4th, along with courtesy copies of the notices, again, emailed out to the property owners. That is a new thing that we're working on, and seems to be working well to give the property owners a little bit more heads up time by sending them by email also. The owners have 30 days from the date of the final notices to file an appeal with the State Property Tax Appeal Board. So that would be the next step if anyone's still not satisfied with the Board of Review's decisions. With the final Board of Review notices out, the assessment office is working on wrapping up the 2024 assessment year. We have scheduled with our taxing software, DevNet, to be able to roll into 25 year and roll our file to the clerk's office next Monday, March 17th. So then we'll be officially able to start working in the 2025 year in the files. We also had the assessors annual instructional meeting for the township assessors on March 4th. That meeting is per state statute for there to be an instructional meeting to promote uniformity and equity across the county for the township assessors. There are several changes coming up in the next year with townships and assessors. Probably the largest change is we found out that Doug Farley, the Dixon Township Assessor, will not be running again for Dixon Township Assessor. He'll be retiring from that position after many, many years. So we wish him well. So there's no one on the ballot for Dixon Township Assessor. Doug has informed us that the township will be contracting an assessor, and that's all the information that we have at this time on that. Also, former assessment office employee Carmen Bowman had been elected township assessor in Harmon Nelson, multi-township, and her contract will be ending at the end of this year also, and she's not continuing with that. Also, she was elected for Harmon Nelson, but, and that will be ending at the end of this year, but she also was contracted with Franklin Grove, Nachusa, and she won't be continuing with that. So for those two multi-township districts, Harmon Nelson, we are talking with them. They're interested in contracting directly with Lee County to do their township assessment work. Franklin Grove, Nachusa has already found someone. Her name is Lisa Sims, who has experience in the Bureau County area with township assessment work. And they are contracting with her directly to do the Franklin Grove, Nachusa assessing. So that's taken care of. And then another change in 2026 that also has to do with the census and the number of inhabitants. Right now, multi-townships must have 1,000 inhabitants to be a district. What Dave and I were referring to, they're trying to change it to 3,000 inhabitants, which would be a huge impact. But right now, the limit is 1,000 inhabitants. And when they did the 2020 census, Amboy, or I'm sorry, Mesa Sublette townships were a multi-township assessment district already, but they still fell just a little bit short of that 1,000 inhabitants. So we had to come up with a plan to make them compliant. So moving forward, starting January 1st of 2026, Lee Center is actually going to be joining with Mesa Sublette to make a multi-township assessment district. Lee Center had previously been with Amboy Township, but Amboy does have enough inhabitants with close to 3,000 that they will be able to be a standalone township under the current guideline of 1,000 inhabitants. So Amboy is going to be a standalone multi-township assessment district, or standalone district, not multi. And then Lee Center, Mesa Sublette will be combined for a multi-township assessment district. So that's just a little shifting around that will happen with our assessment districts, and that will take effect January 1 of 2026. And then we'll see what happens with the statute if they do end up changing it to a 3,000 limit that would completely reshuffle our multi-township assessment districts. Any question on those highlights from the assessment report?
Any questions?
So the GIS update that I have for you, GIS department continues to work towards converting the assessment office to ArcGIS Pro, and they've been developing some instructions for our assessment staff so that the tools that we most use, they'll be able to show us exactly how to work them on the new platform. And that again is ArcGIS Pro is going to be retired in the next year, so we have to switch over to that soon. The GIS department and I met with CloudPoint in the last couple of weeks to discuss Parcel Fabric and Open Fields. Joy in our office also sat in on this meeting as Open Fields is being looked at as a replacement for our current Farms tool, which affects Joy's workflow. So we're looking at those two things with CloudPoint helping us out. And then the GIS department and I had a video conference with Esri Thursday last week. And Brian from the highway department was also on that call. And the highway department might be looking into some GIS solutions in the future. And our office is looking forward to supporting them in that however we can. So
Okay,
are
thank
there any
you.
GIS questions?
Any questions on that? All right, no
Thank you.
questions. Thank you. All right, Jeremy, County Board, do you got any, I'm sure you got stuff for us.
Yeah, a couple things. I had a conversation with Congressman LaHood's office in regard to the next phase of the community-funded projects. This is what we applied for the new highway facility last year that we were selected for, but then they ended up pulling the funding back due to some funding restrictions within that program through the USDA. So right now, as they're trying to pass the budget on the federal level, they have not even allocated or sent out the funds. I guess they're allocated, but they haven't sent out the funds from the previous year's award, which was where we applied for. They're hoping to have the new platform open in April. That's the target. So if that's the case, looks like that we are going to have still the support from the congressman and his team. We had some feedback from the actual appropriations committee from the federal level, and we had all eligible, the criteria for our project was completely eligible. The hangup was just on the fiscal constraints, as I said. So we're going to go forward with that again. We're going to make a couple adjustments to it. The county's going to try to take on a little bit more of the financial side of this to make it seem that we have a little bit more into that program ourselves, into our project. So that was the one piece of feedback that they did. So we're just going to try to scale back that federal portion, and we should be able to move forward with that. So again, hopefully we apply for this in early April and have some feedback, sometime in May or June. It's a little bit delayed due to just the passing of the federal budget that they're working through right now. So that's going to be exciting. And hopefully we can get Dave his new, building out there. Right, Dave? That's right. Other than that, we are still working on the broadband project throughout the county. We have had 5, to my knowledge, different internet service providers in the process or have applied for the state funding with the assistance of the county. And right now, Dave's also been seeing some increase in permits being pulled for permit or right-of-way work for broadband infrastructure. So that's been exciting. So there has been some movement there. And hopefully we have some updates by next month on where some of those applications are at and what the state's goal and process is. So any questions?
Any questions for Jeremy? Thank you, Jeremy.
Actually, one more thing.
Oh,
Sorry about that. We did make the hire, with our human resources coordinator, Susan Gillespie. She's coming over from Whiteside County. I do believe I could say that now. I know she gave notice. So she will be starting March 31st. If you want to take a walk through the conference room behind the wall there on the west side, we have a quasi-temporary office that's being built out for her right now until we do some remodeling up here on the east side of the building eventually for some of the changes that we're looking at operationally. So we're really excited about that. She's going to come and meet the department heads tomorrow. And it's going to be, she's just going to be a great asset for the county. So looking forward to it.
That's awesome. All right. Looking forward to meeting her. Okay, any other questions? If not, the county clerk, Nancy.
Good morning. Thank you, Jack. We'll start off with the flyer that I handed out to all of you this morning. This one in the newspaper. This is also online. So this was the brand new voter guide that we're using. We used to put a newspaper voter guide in the Telegraph and the Amboy News, and this is something new we're trying out this year. There is an awful lot of information in there because this is the biggest election. And as you can see, we've already had people call on that. If we made it, 5 more pages long, you're talking an awful lot of money. So the feedback's been, a little different on this, but I thought it turned out fabulous, and Shaw Media has just been fabulous to work with. So I wanted to share that. So using this flyer, insert in the newspaper is going to save my department at least $15,000, if not $2,000. Publication, as we all know, is just going nowhere but through the roof. And we just have 2 newspapers left, Telegraph and the Amboy News. And that rolls me right into consolidated election. We're 3 weeks out, so early voting is going on downstairs on the first floor. So if you want to on your way in or out, you could cast your vote, 8:15 to 4:15. The numbers we have right now, almost 3 weeks in, is 72 voters. So again, like I explained last month, this is the most work election with what you see in that flyer, and it's the least turnout. So we just always encourage everybody to get out and vote. This is for everything that surrounds where you live. Also, vote by mail ballots, I think I also said went out. We had 1,876 ballots get mailed out. We have approximately 505 of those that have been returned. Training session for election judges was held on February 25th. We had 91 judges show up for the 2 combined classes, and we are sitting right now at a number of 124 election judges. We have just enough, but we're always still looking for election judges there. And the reason for the 91 that show up for the class, a lot of these people have been doing it for multiple years, and a lot of them don't feel that there's a need for them to come to this class every election. Economic interests are due May 1st. We also on that mailed out approximately 660, and right now we have 277 that we are waiting on. So the election department is a very busy department right now with the economic interests, the early voters, the vote by mail, and also everyone that comes in every day into our office to register to vote. So there's a lot going on downstairs on the first floor. To jump up to my second floor, we've had a humongous uptick in requests for birth and marriage records because of the deadline for, in case everyone doesn't know that, May 7th is the deadline for the real ID, that you get the star on your driver's license to go through any airport or federal building. There's been huge misunderstanding on that. People think that they have to have that star to go into the courthouse across the street. But it's federal buildings for that. So I foresee the next 2 months are going to be extremely busy in my vital records department because of that. And that's all I have. Any questions, Jack?
Any questions for Nancy? I could make a couple comments on the real ID, but I guess
Mm-hmm.
not the place right now with some of the new passes of some rules in Illinois. So with that said, thank you, Nancy.
Thank
IT department, Paul, would you like to walk us through your report?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I present my IT report, I like to consider this public comment. Having served as a Winnebago County board member and a Cherry Valley Township trustee, and Cherry Valley Township served for 8 years, I appreciate and respect both units of government and would hope I'd like to see township government in Illinois kind of stay the way it is. Kind of like it. It's kind of close to my heart. Thank you.
Illinois just wanting to change things, keep us on our toes, I guess.
Well, not that I don't like county government, but we used to say in township government, the government closest to the people. And as Nancy was saying, a lot of the school districts, township and the like, it's the stuff that's local, it's just outside your back door type of stuff. So, okay, to my report, I've submitted report. A lot of it's operational in terms of either support or computer deployments. The highlights, one of which, one is in new courts, they're still waiting for an official response on the court grant. And we all are hopeful that we get everything that we asked for. And if we did, that's going to mean a lot of work for my department going forward. So I'm looking forward to the answer to that. And we believe we're going to have an answer sometime this week. And also another project which I hadn't expected to spend so much time on, Brightspeed is one of our phone vendors, one that I'm trying to reduce our reliance on. Switched its computer platform and where our accounts reside because they've been sold a couple of times over the last 3 years and are branching, finally making their final transition to their own systems. Well, they've misplaced a few we have 9 accounts. They've misplaced a few, and they've given access to our accounts to some other units of governments and agencies in Illinois. So I'm trying to work through that. It's a very slow process. Their customer support team didn't actually have access to our portal until late last week. So I'm working through it with them so that only Lee County or I can see our accounts, nobody else does, and to make sure we're getting back to paying those bills on time. So again, it's taking up a little bit more time than I expected, but I hope to have a resolution to that. Today's Tuesday, hopefully by end of day tomorrow. So any questions for me right now?
Any questions for Paul? Paul, thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at the mic over there, and then I have a conference call. Ed.
Okay. Okay. ROE, Chris was not able to attend, but he did provide us with one of his reports. Same thing with Jim Gorman. Jim did also provide us with a report as well. Jeremy, I forgot, I was going to ask you, but do we have any more update on possible VA personnel? Anything on that?
No, I was supposed to meet with Jim this week. We had to
Okay.
reschedule. So hoping to meet with him in the coming days or next week, early next week, so we could hash that out and really understand what
Okay.
we need to do here.
Sorry, I forgot. I was going
No,
to mention
that's okay.
something to you.
Yeah.
Ellie brought some information to me too, and I don't know if she shared anything with you as well, but I'll have her
No.
meet with you later on.
All right,
So-
sounds good.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Alice, you want to walk us through your report?
Sure. Good morning. I have one petition coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals, petition number 25P1638 by Craig and Christine Kessel. They were requesting a special use permit for the purpose of auto repair minor. The zoning board held the public hearing and unanimously made a recommendation to approve this petition to the county board with conditions, and those conditions are included in the report and in the resolution that I handed out to you this morning. Going to the Zoning Board of Appeals, we have two petitions, 25P1639 by Mound Hill Road North Solar and 25P1640 by Mound Hill Road South Solar. These are both community solar projects located on the east side of Mound Hill Road, north of Route 2. Both petitions consist of 67.29 acres. The north project, once completed, will consist of 35 acres. The south project, once completed, will consist of approximately 19 to 20 acres. Action coming from the Planning Commission is 25PC78. This is the petition for text amendment in which we are introducing the zoning hearing officer in place of the Zoning Board of Appeals. And we are also creating standards for amending special use permits. Public hearing was held March 3rd. No members of the public were present. Following the public hearing, the Planning Commission made a recommendation to accept the text amendment as it was written, and this failed for a lack of motion. They then made a recommendation to approve with the following revisions. They would like to see the text include language that would allow for the removal of a zoning hearing officer, language that would limit the terms of the zoning hearing officer, language that would allow the county board to annually review the zoning hearing officer, and then requiring county board input on the rules and procedure. So I have spoken to Stephanie Sasser about bringing this forward. So we are going to include these revisions and send it to the county board this month. Other action we had no action going to the Planning Commission next month. Other action from the zoning office, my deputy zoning administrator, Laura Mangrum, has taken another position. She is going to be a floodplain specialist for the state of New Mexico. Her last day was February 19th, and we wish her the best on her new endeavor. For the time being, I am solo in my office. I'm trying to keep up with phone calls, emails, and all of that stuff. So please be patient. But please let me know if you have any concerns or hearing anything from the constituents. Last month, I attended PowerGen International in Dallas, Texas. PowerGen brings together over 8,000 industry professionals, including power utilities, hardware vendors, and equipment manufacturers. Some of the key takeaways from this conference were the resurgence of traditional power sources. Discussions highlighted a renewed interest in natural gas and nuclear energy. The thing to remember about nuclear in Illinois is we're currently under a moratorium for new nuclear. Additionally, the hot topic is these small modular nuclear reactors. The technology is kind of new, and we were told that it would probably be about 10 years before we'd see these being built. Also, advancements in hydrogen and energy storage, the impacts of artificial intelligence on energy demand, and the emergence of grid technologies. Other news, kind of important, is we are getting a little bit stricter with what we're going to be requiring for commercial developments here in Lee County. We are now requiring architectural plans that are sealed by an Illinois licensed design professional for all commercial buildings as defined by the state of Illinois. And the state defines commercial buildings as any building other than a single-family dwelling or dwelling containing 2 or fewer apartments, condominiums, or townhouses, or 2, a farm building that's exempted from Section 3 of the Illinois Architecture Practice Act of 1989. We are also going to start requiring plan review for all commercial buildings. We will be partnering with Kelly Reynolds. He handles plan review for over 200 municipalities and counties in the country. He only works for municipalities and county governments. He currently works for Whiteside County, City of Sterling, and the City of Dixon. By requiring these architectural plans and reviews for all commercial buildings, Lee County is ensuring that these structures are completed properly, reducing and/or eliminating the risks to the health, safety, and general welfare of the public that may enter these commercial structures. During the month of February, we processed 15 building permits and collected $843.20 in fees. Any questions?
Questions, any questions for Alice? All right. Thank you, Alice. All right, so let's go to the petitions, the 2 petitions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So is there a motion to move petition number 25P 1639 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the County Board agenda? First by Dean Friel, seconded by Ally Huss. Any discussion on that one? No discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. Second one, is there a motion to move petition 25P 1640 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the March County Board agenda? First by Dean Friel, seconded by Ally Huss. Any discussions on that? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion still carried. We have one petition coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. It's not in your packet, but she did drop that off to you. Hopefully you had a chance to look at that, but is there a motion to move petition 24P 1638 with the corresponding resolution to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the County Board agenda? Firsted by Ron Gascoigne, seconded by Dean Friel. Excuse me. Any discussion on this one? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. There's no petitions going to the Planning Commission, but there is one petition coming from the Planning Commission. So is there a motion to move petition 25P C 7 to 8 to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the Mounds County Board agenda? First by Dean Friel, second by Ron Gascoigne. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Then we have some revisions to the zoning and building permit fees. So is there a motion to move the revisions to the zoning and building permit fees resolution to the Executive Committee for inclusion on the March County Board agenda? First by Ally Huss, second by Dean Friel.
Jack, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yes.
Could I I forgot to reference this in my report, and I just want to call out what we are changing.
Sure, sure. We've got it. We've got two motions going. So, well, hey, Alice, can you explain to us a little bit what's going on this particular building fees?
Sorry, thank you. We've added two lines, one for shipping containers, which are allowed currently in the ag, commercial and industrial districts, flat fee of $100 per container. The second one was a fee for commercial grain facilities, and that will be based on the total construction cost times 1/1000th of a cent.
Okay. All right, thank you for that clarification. Any other questions on that or any discussion on this? Okay, we have a first and a second. So all those in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay. I have nothing listed for unfinished business. Nothing under new business. No executive sessions that I'm aware of. So I just need a motion for adjournment. Second by Dean, second by Ron Gascoigne. All those in favor signify saying aye. Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.